Welcome. We are back. Here we are. My name is Omar. This is NerdinIn, episode 27. Doing this shit for a little bit. Got some friends here. We're here ready to just make some rounds and all the cool shit that we've been talking about. It was a big week, actually, big week and a half in the nerd stratosphere. Again, Omar from Dallas.
Lauro from Houston. What's up, guys?
What up?
Hey, this is the Martian. This is Vince here.
All right. So it's another all Texas, lands on Texas episode. Speaking of Texas, we're going to be supposedly getting our vaccines for everyone on the 29th. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wait, did you register or?
I've been kind of like seen on the interwebs, probably like Laurel has, just looking at local like CVS, Walgreens, going to the HB site and just like seeing where they have vaccines available. But unfortunately for me, like it's always like in the cuts, like places that's like, way.
So I actually registered. If you go to, it's just like DallasCounty.org or whatever, you just Google Dallas County vaccine and you can go on there and register.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I was talking to an Uber driver about that, and he was like a middle-aged young guy, maybe early 40s. He's like, oh yeah, I got my vaccine. I'm like, what? How'd you do that? He's like, yeah, I just registered. They literally hit him up like 3 days later, and it's like, if someone else doesn't show up, it's the next person in line. So yeah, so he just showed up and got it, and yeah, he was the one that told me about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can go ahead and register now if you wanted to. And yeah, I already got an email saying that basically, if something becomes available, they'll reach out to me. So that's pretty much it.
Oh. All right. So I guess we're going to talk about, major topics definitely for the last week, things we've been anticipating. Falcon and Wintersoldier, just right off the bat, coming off of WandaVision, the first episode. That's something we'll definitely open with. Then, of course, the SnyderCut for Justice League, which is something that I think everyone's kind of like split 50-50 on. And I guess we'll definitely dig in real deep on that because that's, I think, something that's been holding a very special place, especially on the internets, along with other news. So, for Falcon and Winter Soldier, who wants to jump in?
I'll jump in and say I haven't even watched it yet. So I like to, I like to ingest my episodes 2 at a time. I think that's how I did it with WandaVision, and that worked out best to not piss me off because I swear if I would have watched just that first episode, I would have just quit on the show right then and there. So I'm waiting for this Friday to come in, but please spoil away.
But why is it? Because you're being left hanging too much? Like you can't wait for the next episode, or what is it?
Yeah. That's exactly it. Especially with WandaVision. It was marketed as a 35-minute episode, which came out to be 17 minutes with 20 minutes of credits.
I know, that was ridiculous, right? I was like, is it me? Is there like crazy long credits? All right.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the way though it was back in like those sitcoms? They really didn't have, not to say we ever really timed how long these shows were, but a good amount of the sitcom was watching commercials and just like being advertised to,
it makes sense. I get it. I understand, but it's like, bro, we only have such an amount of time. We have an attention span that must be taken care of. And, I guess Marvel got us, spoiled. It's like, oh, sit for the credits and I swear it'll be worth it. And there I am like an idiot 17 minutes later, like no Easter eggs. Nothing.
You didn't have to do that with Disney Plus. You could have just fast forwarded it straight to the scene.
Uh,
Don't tell me you did that.
well, okay, I did it for the first episode, but then there was an episode that had a mid-credit scene, and then I was just, fast forwarding it. And then the next day I read on CBR, it's like, oh, here's this mid-credit scene that everyone's talking about. I'm like, what the hell, So damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I was just like, I was peeved at my own self. But that's my own stupidity. So.
All right, so Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'll try not to be too spoilerific about it, but I can say that I didn't really read too much about like anything about it, the setup. I only knew probably so much of what I couldn't avoid. I mean, I obviously watched maybe like a teaser or so, but I was super excited about just having, Captain America, the whole thematic idea and concept of him back in the storyline, because Captain America is like so pivotal to like the Avengers. He's like, the big three, but having the sidekicks now like come forward, especially Falcon. Excuse me? No, we can't. I'm sorry. We've already recorded.
What's she saying? She saying you're too loud?
No, my fiance came here and said, "Can I have that iPad?" I'm like, no.
Oh.
I can't say no to her ever. Really.
She wants to get her Angry Birds on, man. Let her have her time.
No, it's just because we have like 2 iPads in the house. This is like the newer. Sorry, guys. But that's life. This is what it is. Oh, I'm actually making a Hoppenheimer. This is a local Texas, Dallas IPA.
Are those guys paying you to plug that?
No, not yet. But Manhattan Project, give us a ring. Let us know. We are easily sold off on the corner anywhere around Texas. So
listen, I would have thought that by episode 10 you would have got some sponsorship already. Like,
no, it's like you gotta reach out, and you gotta also have the right kind of viewership. And I think that we probably go off on the deep end of probably too much cussing and other shit. So
they would have been like, okay, with how many viewers you have, the next time you come into the brewery, we'll give you 10 cents off your next drink.
Sweet, I'll take it. But I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is definitely cool because, again, there's only so much screen time you get for these characters, right? Falcon is cool in his own right. Winter Soldier is a badass. But now you see them put forward, and there's not really a vacuum of Captain America. And it's perfect because you see the balance of screen time in the way they kind of show the episodes. Because those guys aren't like really buddy-buddy. Their connection was Captain America. And they kind of, if anything, had more of a kind of like a Laurel and Hardy kind of like a, comedic kind of like relationship. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I felt like the storytelling was definitely more of that MCU Studios like feel and vibe. The cinematography, the stunts, everything was like higher level. I felt like, again, coming off from WandaVision, I know WandaVision wasn't intended to be anything on that level or scale because it was a whole different kind of like just a gender bender / throwback kind of project, which was ambitious in its own right. This is definitely more what I'm into. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier was like just that episode brought me back into this is what Marvel is about. When you watch the opening sequence and you see like, do you hear the music? And you see all these different like screenshots from all past films. That promise when you see the Marvel brand coming out, that was what I think was delivered in this first episode. So it was high quality. It felt like a little mini movie. It didn't feel like just a bullshit ass like TV production. So the stunts were sick. The stunts were on the level. There was one in the opening sequence that had Falcon facing off against these French terrorists, and Batroc was in it. Which Batroc is his original character was GSP.
Yep.
For St. Pierre. So love him. They underuse him in martial arts. Like, but I appreciate that he still has a role as Batroc, and he wasn't like taken out because he's a major like Captain America villain. But wasn't
he in like a Jackie Chan film? I swear that he was, or maybe that's just my imagination.
You know what? I think he was. There was a time where he was starting to get into film, and just didn't translate over very well for my guess. But I think it's so badass. You know, I think he was really good. You know, in the time when he was doing his thing in the MMA scene. But the stunts and it was on like Mandalorian level. I felt like Mandalorian season 2. So the money was, you could see why. I think the problem they had was the timing of everything. They want to parse out everything. Obviously, COVID was a major budget fuck for them and scheduling mishap, so they don't know where everything is going to go. But it just feels like it's like night and day from WandaVision to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. No, it definitely was. And I mean, I don't know. I've been watching like a lot of sports YouTube videos and trailers and things coming up. And I don't know what's going on with the Winter Olympics or the Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics? I don't know. But yeah, the whole wingsuit stuff, like, I thought it was awesome. Like, I love just like anytime you can throw a wingsuit into a movie, like I don't know, I'm a fan of. But I just thought that those guys had like way too much mobility in the wingsuit versus obviously, it's a show, it's fiction, but yeah, I don't know. I thought they had way too much mobility, like being able to do, or even being able to catch like the Falcon in the air in a wingsuit. I'm like, come on, man.
Again, so the stunt work, Laura, the stunt work was so like, you could see like there was maybe some mild like wire work, but it felt just, they got such badass like stuntmen and stuntwomen. But we saw some things that Falcon never really did before, and it was live action. It was live. It was like, it wasn't just bullshit ass Snyder cut CGI. So it's cool when you see people move and you could see like, oh, that person is actually moving like a human being can move. I probably could never do that, but it looks, it's more real than video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm also sure like because it's Marvel, they got like a lot bigger budget to be able to add more realism and actually have people like doing those stunts in real life versus needing to be able to put it, in front of a green screen or something.
So you're telling me right now that Marvel just has a lot more money to throw than DC, and that's why they have made better.
No question, they got a lot more money than DC. Like that's without a doubt. I mean, they just got way too many more films, way too much. They've just done the marketing right, and everything is like super crazy high budget. DC could get there. They just, they just need to, in my opinion, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I think they just need to keep things darker in a sense, and I think you'll be able to have that yin and yang of powerhouses and actually give Marvel somewhat of a run for their money because they're just running away with it right now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Laura, what was your kind of like expectation from coming from like WandaVision now to Falcon and Winter Soldier? What was your kind of take?
I guess to be honest with you, I'm expecting a Captain America Part 2, just a lot longer, spread apart in like 8 little episodes. I think I'm glad that Falcon is finally getting his due. I think every time he showed up in the movies, he's always just shooting his guns, flying around, and apparently he's doing some wire fu now, according to y'all. So he's actually got some moves. About time. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but timeline wise, this is like 6 months after the blip, right? In the story.
Yeah.
So he's had some time to practice too. And then I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Captain America Brubaker run. So I read the entire thing. I have the hard copy of the entire Brubaker run. So getting to see Bucky with the shield and then was it Sam Wilson as a supporter, and then they're actually Captain America's finally in the background, and these two are in the foreground, and they're actually battling these baddies. You know, it was pretty dope watching that unfold. You know, those two held the mantle together. So I guess going into the show, once you know actually watch it, it's going to be pretty exciting. I mean, it's got the shit that I like. It's balls to the wall action, political espionage too. So it's kind of like Tom Clancy-ish. Yes. Sounds like it. Yeah. So
what you have to explain to me, what's the Brubaker, or what is that you're talking about?
Oh, Ed Brubaker wrote Captain America in the 2000s, 2005, I think, and it really blew up. That his run blew up because it was under Brubaker's run where they killed Captain America, and then there was the battle for the shield, so to speak, where you didn't know who it was going to pass on to, whether to Sam Wilson or to Bucky Barnes, and it went to Bucky. So then, you know, with Captain America dead, they kept him dead for a good 2-3 years, I want to say too. So, but the new Captain America, no longer Winter Soldier, and so him and Falcon were actually battling all of Captain America's old foes, you know, Red Skull, and it was hella spy thriller espionage. So, you know, good to know that it's kind of picking up from that source. You know, that's what it sounded like to me, at least.
Yeah, they definitely make good use of, like, I feel modern day, like, filmmaking that connects to like social media. So it definitely has a younger audience in mind too. So I appreciated that they did that. Again, because these are the sidekicks, right? So this is considered the next generation of the Avengers. So why not sell that to a new audience? And I feel like a lot of the things that they did maybe it was by accident, because I didn't expect them to be like the biggest premiere, like Disney Plus premiere. Like I was like, there's no possible way that it could beat Mandalorian, right? But it did that.
It did? Really? Oh, shoot.
Yeah. But again, saying that, right? No one thought Mandalorian was going to be what it was. So maybe the premiere just wasn't as great because, and also the subscriptions probably were not as high yet. Now we're talking them being like closer to the Amazon and the Netflix level, but they're still behind. They're like, I think only like maybe 1 million subscribers. They're not the 1.5, are they yet? 1.5 subscribers?
No idea.
That's like Amazon. I know Netflix is like almost over 2 million. So
what's supposed to come after? What's the next Marvel series? Is it Loki, or what comes after Winter Soldier and like Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah, it's Loki. Loki comes out in July, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay. But it's right, like I think that they, a lot of what's cool about the Marvel storytelling with their films is they do try to make it sequential storytelling, kind of like comic books, and they had to push everything back because that there's connections and threads between each of them, right? So I thought Black Widow was actually going to be able to come out earlier, but the fact that is Black Widow coming out before or after Loki? Do you know offhand, Laura?
I think it's coming out after. It's July 16th, if I remember correctly. Let me see.
Supposedly. See how long they keep on pushing it back.
I mean, dude, I miss going to movies, man. And like honestly, when I get vaxxed up, dude, I'm going, man. That's one of my favorite pastimes is like experiencing the theater, I can't wait.
What I'm really waiting for still is No Time to Die. Like, I've been waiting for that. I want to see that so bad. I'm a huge 007 fan, so yeah.
Ditto. And then especially with what's his name? Mr. Robot as a bad guy. Man, that kid can act his ass off.
Yeah, dude, he's a badass. I really like such a great actor.
What is it? Ramik or something?
Malik.
Oh, Malik.
Yeah, Ramik.
Yeah.
There's a dude in that recent Netflix movie, or no, it was the HBO Max movie. The Little Things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he
do you guys, I haven't seen it. Do you guys recommend it?
I do. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good slow burner. You know?
Wait, Denzel's in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll probably watch it for my boy Denzel. I don't know about the other guys, but I watch it for him.
Dude, what's his name stole the show, bro? Like with having Denzel and then Rami Malek, what's it called? Was the shit, dude. Like
and Leto.
Yeah, dude. Jared Leto, dude. He was wacky and wild and very believable.
You know, I mean, the fact that he created a limp for his character throughout the entire movie, he never broke that same limp. Like I'm like enthralled. I'm like, this is a real actor right here.
Who's that? Jared Leto?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently his character.
So talented. Like I like music.
Wait, you're saying he created it as in like it wasn't in the script?
There probably was. It probably wasn't in the script, but like when you watch the movie, you see his character walk around. You'll see him with a noticeable limp, and he keeps that limp throughout the entire movie. And I thought that was a nice little touch on his character because he's so freaking creepy. He's so weirded out.
He's a creepy, but I think he also plays that real good balanced line between, like, yeah, creepy, but also someone that you can kind of be rooting for a little bit. Like, maybe he has something, maybe he has some information, maybe at least the way his character was kind of like set up. We didn't know whether he was a good guy or a bad guy. He was just maybe just like a starstruck, one of those weirdos that's just into like, killers, or not killers, but like crimes and shit. I mean, with all the crime podcasts and like all the crime like shows that have come out, there's tons of people that are like that on that shit.
Oh, you mean like white folks who are always so excited about the next Netflix documentary?
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Bringing this up on our very well-represented podcast.
We just lost our 2 viewers.
2 white viewers, sorry. Come back next time. Come by. Bye-bye. So is there anything else to say on Falcon and Winter Soldier, Vince? Because I don't want to. You good?
No, I'm good.
I would say the only thing is I didn't realize that they're going to bring in U.S. Agent so quick. That you already know about, I'm sure, Lara. But the way they kind of tied it in, the social like gaslighting, dude, genius. Like the way the writing on that level, at least, and I know it's not just me. I'm sure other people saw it, but it's just like people of color being gaslit by white people or by whoever the power is to get what they want so they can do something other shit. That to me, I was just like, man, this is genius. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see like on a Disney level. Because Disney, when we say Disney, we think about, at least for me, I think of the nostalgia. I think of like Britney Spears and like Justin Timberlake, the Disney kids that come up. They're all innocent and then they end up being bad people or just like dirty and but they're all talented. But the fact that now Disney has Marvel and the way they're using the Marvel, the House of M, I think it's just kind of like a really cool, more mature sandbox for them to play with, especially for the social side of it. Yeah, I like to see titties and ass, but really when it comes down to it, I do appreciate that higher level shit, like the intellectually social stuff. So.
Yeah, it would be great if some of the female superheroes had some bigger boobies. I mean, that would be a huge plus. kind of resemble the comics a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Well, they've had to taper down that a little bit, bro. Like,
I feel like none of the girls have any boobies. Like they're all flat chested, but their costumes kind of make it look like they got a little something.
And there we go. I lost all of our viewers. Good job, Vince. On that note, let's go ahead and jump right into what I think we're all thinking about. The Snyder Cut. This was something that I'm not the biggest Snyder fan. I'm a huge DC fan, but not a DC apologist. I still have a very special place in my heart, especially for comic books, like growing up and reading books, and then growing up and then reading more mature books. You know, DC has always been a place where it's more of an adult space. And then, you know, Snyder kind of brought that, especially, you know, after having to fill up the power vacuum that was left with Christopher Nolan, you know, with Batman. So what are you going to do after that? Then we get Snyderverse, the whole like Snyder trilogy or whatever. That now is, I guess, completed. I didn't think I was going to watch it, honestly. I said, no, I don't have 4 hours of time to waste. Let's be honest, some of us are still kind of pretty shelter in place and doing most of our viewing at home. So I was like, fuck it. I love my fiance, but she takes a long time to get ready. So I had little snippets of an hour and a half here, an hour and a half there, an hour and a half there. And like, you know, I just finished up Banshee, and Banshee was a phenomenal show that came out back in 2013, but now was released recently on HBO Max. Highly, highly, highly recommend it, especially if you like, if you're a big fan of
Homelander,
Anthony Starr.
Yeah.
Anthony. But damn, I just wanted to open it up with that. Whoever wants to start, man, pick it up, because this is definitely going to be a long, very heightened conversation.
Okay, so with the Snyder Cut now, is that like, you know, if they have a sequel, right? Is that confirmed now that Ben Affleck is coming back and he's continuing being Batman? Or are they going to replace him with someone else? Where's his mind frame at? Like, I could have sworn I read something, you know, prior to the Snyder Cut, like, I'm done with Batman. So, but I'm sure, like, for the Snyder Cut, like, they needed to bring him back to maybe, like, make up some scenes or I don't know. Like, I think they did do some scenes with some people. I don't know if they did any extra ones. Well, I think, no, they had to do one with him because with the Joker, right? That ending scene, like, I don't, was that already like pre-filmed prior to him like leaving and then coming back, or was that filmed after Snyder came back and was like, all right, I'm gonna finish this?
I think that was new, to be honest with you, because the most that Snyder completed, I mean, he did all the scenes with Cavill. I mean, that you could tell with the whole face and without the fake CGI mustache BS. But yeah, to me, it looked like he did complete those scenes with Leto and Affleck towards the end. Like, I think those are brand new, because up until that movie, the premiere, I don't think we'd heard anything about it. I mean, there were always rumors about Martian Manhunter, but there were never any rumors about the nightmare sequences. I mean, not that I know of.
Okay. Omar, what's your take? Is Ben Affleck revising his role as Batman now going on forward, if there's a sequel or not?
I think it was confirmed actually that Ben Affleck is going to be one of the Batman in the Flashpoint Flash movie. So I think that's a big reason too why AT&T / Warner Brothers / DC agreed to bring the Snyder Cut into reality. So, yes! Oh my gosh, look who we have here! What a wonderful surprise!
Arthur Wu in the house!
What's going on, man? Sorry to gate crash you guys.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy that you're here. Art, are you cool with having your last name on there? Just wanted to let you.
Oh, it's too late now.
Yeah.
It's already being recorded.
Should I?
So-
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So just to plug you in real quick, Art, we just started talking about the Snyder Cut.
Oh, okay.
So you in at the perfect time. Art's one of my
Alright.
old childhood friends. Guy that
You kind of got that Jared Leto Jokerish kind of look going on with the.
I'm trying, but thank you, Omar, for inviting me. Like, oh, it was a nice surprise. Sorry I was
course.
late. I had the family stuff I have to take care of. So
dude, you're a family man. It's all good, and we're just happy to have you here. So Laura and Art, do you guys know each other?
No.
So you guys both are listeners of the Comics Conspiracy podcast, and that's how I actually reconnected with Art, was through that shop. So I would see him in every once in a while. It was right across from old high school, Fremont High School in Sunnyvale.
Oh, cool. Nice to meet you, Art.
likewise, thanks. And so this guy, and I'll tell you some fun stories. We were told, well, we still are, but comic nerds in high school, and he used to sit behind me in math class. And every day, he'd kind of rustle through my backpack and say, "Hey, Art, man, what new comics did you get?" And he'd actually go through and say, "Oh, the Jim Lee X-Men. Oh, New Warriors. Okay. And oh, wait, that's all you have?" And sometimes I'd have more, and sometimes I'd have less. And then he'd actually be kind of reading it behind, literally behind my back, because I was blocking him from math class. So we were in math class doing stuff, and then he'd be doing math homework and then reading my new issue or something, literally in math class. I think it was algebra, right? Or algebra 2. I think it might have been both times because we had the same teacher. But yeah, so it was kind of fun times back in those days. And we would banter about, comic books and stuff like that. And this is like 90s, right? So prime time, exciting, Image was coming up, and speculation, and Jim Lee was super hot, back then, and all that stuff. Todd McFarlane, of course. So it was very exciting, and just kind of nice to connect with Omar about that kind of stuff. So anyway, I can go on.
No, that's what we do. So to continue on, I think kind of like 4 beers deep here. So where are we at now? So we were talking about Batman in the new DC universe. So Ben Affleck, to answer your question, Vince, yes, Ben Affleck will be in the next Flash movie. It's been confirmed, but it's multiple Batman. So I think it's going to be Michael Keaton. It's also going to be amazing actor. I'm forgetting his name because I'm at that point right now.
That's throwback. If they bring Michael Keaton into this new DC universe, like
Twilight guy,
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Lieutenant, awesome actor. I'm sure he's going to be an incredible Batman. But yeah,
you're giving him high hopes. I on the other hand have very low expectations.
Dude, have you seen Tenet?
Yeah, I just don't think he's a very great actor.
Have you seen Lighthouse?
I haven't seen Lighthouse.
Dude, he's done a lot of great movies, man. He's actually a really good actor. And I think that's how it is sometimes, like when English actors take on popular American roles, they get kind of lost in the like pop culture of it, but they're still good actors.
I think what did it in for me was just even me envisioning him. The first thing that comes to mind is Twilight. And I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible.
That's most people, bro. That's most people. So I'm not gonna shit all over all your ideas and your misconceptions about how you feel about him. But yeah, so I think this was kind of like, in a lot of ways, I guess the old guards, the old people that were still at DC and AT&T and Warner Brothers, their way of saying, okay, perfect, streaming, people love this shit. We got HBO Max. We want it to be a hit. There's a huge fan service if we fucking get the Snyder Cut together. Let's give him his last hurrah. Oh, guess what? All the filming's done. How much money are you going to need to fucking put this shit out? And yeah, it'll be about $70, $80 million, whatever, just because they're going to have to pay some of these actors to come in and do reshoots and obviously use some really shitty CG scenes for certain things. But I don't know, man. I was happy with it. I was happy with seeing what the actual project, his idea and concept. Now in the theater experience, would I have been able to sit through all that shit? Hell motherfucking no. But at home, in a streaming environment where I'm used to watching like hours and hours and hours of shit. Yeah, man. Fucking the Snyder Cut was a success, I think.
Arthur, what's your take?
It's funny. Everybody's been asking me about it all week because I got nerd friends at my workplace, and I chat with and then some. So I go in, and so first let me step back. So I'm kind of, you know, glad that he was able to kind of do what he wanted to do, aside from the whole fan entitlement thing and wanting to, because it gets kind of like controversial, because like, are they defining what companies should do and things like that? But whatever. I'm actually kind of glad that Snyder got to do and come back and finish what he wanted to finish, right? And 4 hours is kind of long, but if somebody gave me 70 to 80 million dollars and gave me like, hey, you can do what you want 4 or 5 hours on a streaming platform, I'd be a little self-indulgent too, because I was actually pleasantly surprised. I went in not expecting a lot. I didn't hate the theatrical cut. I only liked the action mostly, but it was a bit of a mess. Let's be real, right? There's certain parts here that I liked, but overall the movie's a mess. But then now that you can actually see it side by side, and actually I went to I nerded it out on it with a friend last week. In between, I watched the theatrical cut, not like completely again, but I skipped, right? I kind of jumped scenes to compare. Now that you can actually compare the two, you're like, wow, you can really tell that the theatrical cut was a hack job, because now you really have something to compare with the Snyder cut. And it's like, okay, scenes were shuffled better. Action scenes actually meant more in terms of length, but also some dialogue used and scenes that we didn't see, so that there was more weight to it. You're not just kind of like, okay, one scene and then another scene, and they're kind of like whatever. Certain banter was now removed, and it was pretty obvious. And literally, I was talking to one of my colleagues this morning about it, and it's like, when you think about the theatrical cut, what happened, right? I think it was like the executives are thinking, oh, okay, we need someone to finish this. Oh, Joss Whedon, he did Avengers and Avengers 2, and he's funny, and people like that. So why don't we get him to come back and do that for the Justice League, right? That's my total
Yeah.
like that's what they're thinking. So
Yeah.
go do that for the JLA, and then you go watch the theatrical cut, and you're like, yeah, it has that Avengers tone of trying to be funny, and they're all antagonistic. Especially there's scenes like Bruce and Diana like fighting against each other, and that works in Avengers because they built that, and there's an expectation, and it's what do you call it? It's earned. Everything in the MCU is earned, right? They really nurture those relationships, so it doesn't come off weird. But then the Snyder cut, it was actually like, oh, they're kind of working together, which is kind of funny. And they were actually, I like to call it, it was an a-hole Batman, actually, right? Because he was a
Right.
bit of an a-hole in theatrical, but he was actually kind of interestingly okay, and they were kind of working together. So the vibe of the team was different. So I'm glad they sort of repivoted that, because it definitely felt different when they removed like the bickering, because it didn't feel normal to me. And then the way they chop it up, definitely 4 hours, a bit self-indulgent. Like, I don't need 5 minutes of the Flash rescuing Iris and then looking at the hot dog, and then 5 minutes of slow. I'm like, okay, look, we got to move on, right? And then another 5 minutes of this woman singing the song to Aquaman as he goes in the water. And
Or how about that opening 10-minute scene of Superman screaming?
Yeah, that's like, it could have been shortened. So if you cut a lot of that stuff, superfluous stuff out, you can probably get a decent 3-hour movie, right?
Yeah.
And still retain your vision. And had we been able to do it in the theater, then great, right? But it kind of takes a step back again. Like, okay, he got 4 hours. He's just he's being self-indulgent, right? So I kind of understand, like, yeah, I'm gonna go throw everything in. I'm gonna do, and I get that. But the movie would have been better if he cut some of that out. But other than that, I was pleasantly surprised how coherent it was. More Flash was less annoying to me than the theatrical, because I'm one of the few in the minority where everybody seemed to like the Flash. He bugged the hell out of me in theatrical for some reason. Nothing against the actor. I actually liked Cyborg more than I did before. Like, dude, they really did good on this, on his story and his role and his backstory. So all in all, I thought this is actually pretty good, I would say. And Snyder he's not a great original storyteller. He's a great adapter of stories. So 300.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, Watchmen, they were good. Like, arguably, the Watchmen ending was better than the book, in my opinion. If you're all familiar, right? But
Yeah.
he's not a really good original storyteller. He's very flashy and he's very technical. But I think in terms of original storytelling, like something that's not something existing, he's
Yeah.
not that great. But this one I thought not too bad. Maybe he's had some time to think and work things out. But I thought, okay, you know, this is actually pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. And it's not a masterpiece like the crazy Snyder fans thinking, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. No. Get out of here, man. It's not the haters like, oh, this is just a longer movie version of a dumb movie. No, I think personally, it's maybe above average, like very good, very very good. Like I don't think it's mediocre. I think it's above average. It's well done. You know, snip some stuff here or there, but I actually enjoyed it. Surprisingly, I didn't expect I'd hate it. I didn't expect to super like it, but it more or less met what I expected, and then some. There were some fun surprises here or there. So anyway, I could go on. So
Laura, what are your thoughts?
Okay, you ready for this? I'm ready for
Wait,
this.
hold on, bro.
Laura!
Let's take a step back. Was that gold label that you had, or what was that?
This is a Johnny Walker 18.
Uh,
I have been saving this for a moment.
okay. I thought it was Johnny Walker. I thought I recognized the label. I wasn't sure. Okay, what it was though. All right.
Oh man, here we are.
Okay, so I would like to say a hearty fuck you to Joss Whedon for three reasons. For ending Angel the way he did. Okay, that was reason number one. Reason number two, for the Avengers Ultron, that was absolute trash. And three was for ruining Justice League and making that abortion of a film out of the snippets left on the ground. May you burn in hell for all of eternity, Joss Whedon, and may you never touch a Justice League film ever again.
I feel like you need to have a PowerPoint presentation to go along with this speech.
Yes, I agree. With that being said, I thought it was magnificent. Now, I went into this thinking, okay, it's 4 hours. What can they do? What are they going to do to appease me? What's going to be different? From the onset, you know, obviously there's a lot of slowed down scenes that, you know, Superman yelling, activating the boxes. Oh shit, you know, it actually makes sense. This is the reason why the mother box is activated, because the defender, the last son of Krypton, the defender of Earth, is no longer here. So it's like, let's activate and let's call all these motherfuckers over, you know? And you get that sense within the first 10 minutes. And I get it. It's drawn out, exposition heavy. I get it. And then you have, what was it, chapter 2, where it's a 30-minute chase battle sequence with Steppenwolf against all the Amazonians. And that scene was like the tits. I mean, you know, no pun intended, but, you know, absolutely dope. I mean, they made the Amazonians seem a lot more badass in those 30 minutes than they had in 84, in the other Wonder Woman movie. I mean, they give them their due, you know. Zack Snyder really got that. And then he made Steppenwolf actually seem like a viable badass. Like, he was cutting people left and right. He was cutting down them hoes, like, you know. He didn't seem kind of like a pansy that Joss Whedon made him out to be. And that's what he came out. That's what I felt he was. In the Joss Whedon version, it was all condensed. It was absolutely atrocious. Also, yes, there were scenes that were dragged out, but I get why. I guess the heart of the story really lies with Cyborg, you know, and I understand why he's pissed off too, why he's mad at Joss Whedon, because Joss Whedon didn't give him a fair shake. So what Justice League was supposed to lead to Cyborg's own film, and you know, this kid's supposed to have his own star on Hollywood fame already because of the Snyderverse. And now he doesn't, because why? Because the executives thought that it took away, or it was too goddamn dark, and they wanted Cyborg to say booyah. They wanted to go for the lowest common denominator, and for every asshole that's ever seen Teen Titans, booyah, okay, I get it. Also, the scene with the Flash saving Iris, that was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the little nuance touches that he does with her, it's just, Ezra Miller, I think was his name. And I've always thought he was an okay actor, but like, you can tell that there's like something about Barry. I don't want to say that he's got like Asperger's or something, but he's like, he can't like talk to people directly, but like, I don't know, it's just the way he touches Iris, the way he's like so gentle, so firm, and it's just, I thought that was a beautiful scene. It was backed up by that little soundtrack that Snyder had. Snyder, like you said, Art, he's a good adapter of stories, but also he knows how to do a music video. And some of those sequences were music videos, sure enough. I like the fact that Superman doesn't show up until the last 20 minutes. Why? Because he's hella fucking nerfed. He shows up within the first hour. Boom. Steppenwolf dead. He's gone. All right. Proceed about your day. No, he had to find himself. The guy was dead for a couple of months, and then he doesn't come back till the very end of the movie. Saves the day. Everyone's peeved off. Oh, Superman. He's OP. Yes, he's OP. He's Superman. He's the last son of Krypton. He's invincible. What are you mad about? Obviously the Justice League came into this. These 6 individuals got together to bring him in, they knew they couldn't beat Steppenwolf by himself. So they needed his help. That's why they brought him back. So it was self-indulgent, yes, very self-indulgent. But I think Snyder finally gave the fans what they wanted. And it was exactly what the Snyder fans were looking for. They wanted the grit, they wanted the grim, they wanted the darkness. We had that in spades, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I didn't feel like it dragged on, to be honest with you. I watched it with my wife, who absolutely hates comic book movies. And she was even into it. Like, she would tell me, okay, why aren't we watching part 4, 5, and 6 and all that? I'm like, oh damn, okay, you're really into this. So we would actually watch it together, and the fact that it held her attention for 4 hours proved to me that I'm like, this is good storytelling. It's not the best, but it's good stuff, and
So time out. You guys watched it completely in 4 hours?
We broke it up. We broke it up between 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, we broke it up in 2 days. I wanted to do it, but I had to go to work. And but I think you can easily divulge yourself in 4 hours. You could literally sit down and watch it for 4 hours. When the black and white cut comes out, that's what I'm going to do. I know that's what I'm going to do, because why not? What else do I have to do? I don't know. I feel like I'm defending it, and I'm like the only one like really gassing it the hell up over here. But I mean, the nightmare sequences too. I mean, yeah, it's a little too dark, or it's a little too, I guess, out there maybe, but that final scene with the Joker and Batman, that's what we're looking for. That little dialogue that they had between each other, that's what I thought was going to happen in Suicide Squad. Never happened. It never happened in Batman vs Superman either. So it's good that we finally had that little one-off, although it's, unfortunately won't continue. But if, I know DC and HBO said that Snyderverse is dead, but if they were to continue it, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to like a nightmare type, show, but in, animation. Why not? Animated form. I'm okay with it.
Aren't they doing that though with the Dark Knights?
Dark.
No, like all
No.
the versions of evil Batman animated. I thought there's a Dark Knights animated.
I haven't heard about that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's like a big book that's out, but I think it's going to be animated. Lauro, dude, I'm so glad you broke out the drink, bro, because everything you said had to be said, and it wasn't going to be said by me. But one thing I just want to tag in on was how excited about Amazons for me. The Amazons showing how powerful they are and how they work together, like actually work together, not just like stare at each other around the table. Like, oh, what are you thinking? Oh, this and that. Like they actually play off each other, jump on horses and grab someone else's arrow, get the fucking mother box and like take it away, and some of them die. Like I felt like the stakes were higher there because you saw a lot of death.
mm-hmm.
And to your point, bringing up how Steppenwolf was built on being like this destroyer of like the Mascaria, like that's dope. That's dope. It shows like this is like a major world, a major player in like the DC universe. That was amazing. That they totally built that character up that way. I'm glad they kept Hippolyta alive because that was sick as hell. Starro, the way they implemented Starro, the way they showed a piece of armor that came off of Steppenwolf to take away. He's like, oh, you've already betrayed because he put the Starro on the fucking forehead. I think he used it like twice on 2 different characters. Do you guys remember this?
Oh, I totally forgot that. I thought that was a spider.
It was very subtle, but it was Starro. That's pretty much
I'll have to go back. Okay.
It was 5 stars, and I was like, whoa! Like that made me appreciate Snyder more because I'm like, dude, you're speaking to me and you're not talking about it. He said there's a position that he could have avoided, and it would have been fucking amazing because he already has DC fans out there. I'm one of them, sure. I'm a Marvel guy, but yeah, DC. I'm still DC, like in my heart of hearts. And then Wonder Woman versus the Ross Bolton gang. Is that his name? Game of Thrones?
Yes. Was it Roose Bolton?
Roose Bolton. Dude, he was fucking completely cut out. A lot of that completely cut out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the way we talk about how Snyder uses slow-mo so much, like the way he intentionally made her faster than everybody, fucking bad. Like she pretty much looked like Superman. The way he makes Superman move, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Like, and of course the music. I love that that soundtrack. I love the theme song to like Wonder Woman. It just gets your heart riveting. You're like, you hear those drums. You see all the girls like, oh, I want to be you. Like, I want to be you too. Oh, I still want to be you. Yeah, man. Like Wonder Woman was given so much love, and again, I'm just bringing this up because I didn't hear it amongst you guys, but like, I feel like if I would have seen that, I would have been even more hyped. Like, because Justice League it came out before the Wonder Woman movie, right? Or did it come out after?
It came out after.
Okay, I would have been still so hyped because like the way they used her. Because I forgot about the Justice League because I forgot about like Superman versus Batman. I forgot about that movie and how they kind of gave seeds for the next films that were coming. But when you watch something that was intended, I guess I read it somewhere. I think I read it on IO9 and maybe Collider. That they like, who's the asshole again? Whedon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They only used like, I guess 10% of all the film that was available. So he can really jump on the cut. So think about that. That's why it's fucking 4 hours long. Right? Like Snyder already had all this shit like plotted out and ready, just need to be did need to be cut up, and obviously textured so that Steppenwolf doesn't just look like a fucking weird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle with horns. Diablo or whatever the fuck that guy's name is, that character. Oh, no, Calabas from, this is going way back, like Clash of Titans. Okay. Anyways, Vince.
All right. So tell me, what is the half-life equation, or what is it?
The anti-life equation.
Anti-life equation. All right. So what is that?
Okay. So the anti-life equation is the equation to enslave all living beings. Essentially, anyone who hears the anti-life equation makes you into their slave.
Okay.
It's not really a thing. It's not like a physical thing or an item. It's this somewhat abstract thing. Even in the books, like the comics say, like he's always after it. But it's not like the Infinity Gauntlet or the stone, the gems, or some physical item. It's this abstract thing or concept, at least from what I understand. So it's not like you can just find it or dig it up on the ground. You have to, it's just something that they don't have really defined, but it's something that you'll know when you find it. So,
right. It's intangible.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's because what I kind of heard, and I wasn't sure, that's why I kind of wanted to pick your brains, was it's like maybe people might know like what that equation is, and like you might be able to learn it, maybe word of mouth or something, or some other, but it's like you said, it's not like really, it's not like the mother boxes or the stones or anything. Okay. Yeah, it just wasn't.
Yeah, during Final Crisis, what's his name? Darkseid finally figures out the anti-life equation, and in order to enslave all of human race, he sends it out over TVs and radio waves, and he makes everyone essentially a zombie and their slaves. And I'm pretty sure he makes it into a sound too, because they put it in like these helmets and they put it on top of you, and once they put it on you, that's it, you're done. So it's an intangible thing, but he can make it so, and right. I guess feed it to your brain some way, somehow.
Gotcha.
What I like too about that, how Vince, you're questioning this idea about something that's intangible, and I love, Art, how you so eloquently, and I appreciate it so much, brought it up. It's something that's not a physical thing, but what Snyder did was he kind of visualized it a little bit. And that's where the connection, when with the little, I think part three maybe, when they were talking about the Age of Heroes, and they showed the flashback and kind of showed the Justice League DC or version of it, where they had, like Zeus and Ares and Hippolyta and some weird Green Lantern that dies real quick, which was cool to see though. It was really cool to see. But it showed it, and Darkseid then got
he like pounds the ground and like the lava lines, or whatever that is.
Weird kind of like very signature apocalyptic but flame world thing kind of going maybe, and it wasn't really said, and he didn't see it. Darkseid didn't see it, but I think as the viewer, at least what I saw, what I perceived was that Snyder was implying that later on, when the same thing happened with Steppenwolf, then he said, "Oh no, this is the anti-life equation. This is the home of the anti-life equation."
Because Steppenwolf, like when he touched the ground and picked up the dirt, like he felt it. I don't think Darkseid, like he never verbalized it, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's surprised. He's surprised that it was on Earth. But again, I never say Snyder is a very sleight of hand guy, but maybe he was able to kind of throw a bunch of that in. Maybe it was me reading into it as a fan of like DC comic books, like all the Morrison shit, all the Jeff Johns stuff. But there's just so much. I think when you read a comic too, it's not like everything is said. You kind of go from panel to panel. it's a lot more in your imagination. And I feel like Snyder kind of maybe learned a little bit of that in his storytelling. And again, maybe that's me projecting a little bit, but I felt like that was the case with the anti-life equation. They didn't really talk about it too much.
Yeah, I agree. Could we also do like an appreciation post for all the blood marks left behind? Every time Diana would throw dude like into a wall, you'd see like blood splatter everywhere. Like anytime a super powered person hit a normal person, whatever, you'd always see blood splatter. And that, you don't see that in Marvel. I mean, what, Iron Man shoots someone with a repulsor, right? Oh, perfectly fine. Let me get back up and go about my fucking day. I only have a concussion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing the blood, and I think it could still be a bit darker. I think it could still be a lot darker, and it'll be awesome. Because that's just when I think of DC, I'm like, all right, these are just, I don't know, that's just what I think of when I think of DC.
Wow, you guys cracking me up. You're like hardcore want it to be darker, because it was funny, that scene you bring it up, because my buddy and I, we saw that, we're like, wait a second, wow, that's pretty harsh on Diana. Like, and we were both like, we think he's still alive. We should be okay. Like, it's okay to have that, but the two of us, and maybe we're more traditional, like, okay, look, Diana can do those things, but I think she also values life. So and we're both sort of joking, like, okay, we trust her alive. Okay, let's move on. Even after seeing that, because not that we wanted it or needed it to be even like more dark, but you guys sound like you're bloodthirsty. It's kind of funny. But like, I think in certain instances, I believe she will do that. But like with normal human beings, I think she would, adjust herself. But it was funny you called that out, because literally my buddy and I were like, and we actually didn't look at each other. We were virtual, but we're like, whoa, that's kind of harsh, but I think they're still alive. They should be okay. Yeah. Maybe a tough concussion, and we were sort of justifying it to ourselves. It's kind of funny, actually. Like,
so when Superman goes evil, I want to see a red ocean. That's what I want to see.
Brightburn, anyone?
Yeah, there's a lot of that content out there for us, and we got Homelander. He's pretty much that, right? So
yeah, if you want to see that, then just watch The Boys.
Yeah,
I agree. Agreed completely.
one thing I was talking about with Vince before we got started recording was how Snyder comes up conceptually, or maybe it's not Snyder, maybe it's someone else that is working up different drawings and concepts. But like, what I really appreciated about what Snyder did with Superman was Krypton. I loved how he kind of like made it this place that we never really saw. It was very science. There was a lot of like, he's still social, like kind of, there was conversation. It was very intellectual. It wasn't just a bunch of like guys flying around beating each other up. They actually didn't even have powers there, right? And in that same vein, he did the same thing with the Age of Heroes, where it showed like the history of these characters, the mythos of like, Zeus, Hades, Hippolyta, a Green Lantern. I don't know which one it was. Someone out there probably knows.
It's the Fellowship of Heroes.
Yeah, right. So, and a lot of that, it's cool because like, if this was conceptually done before, like back, I feel like it had to be new material. This had to be like new stuff he kind of cut in, because it feels so Avengers of DC, which is a Jason Aaron book that was out maybe like 3 years ago. And this film was originally, the footage actually was like, what, from 2015, 2017 or so? Mm-hmm. So the parallel, it had to be cut in recently, but the fact that I got to see that Avengers BC on the big screen, I was fucking just balls out hyped about it. I don't care if it's DC, I don't care if it's Marvel. All I see is Odin and Phoenix and like, the Black Panther of the fucking back in the day, and like Ghost Rider. Like it didn't matter which universe it was from. I got to see that shit on the big screen. And that's what's cool about watching, like being a comic book fan and then watching cool movies that are done kind of right. You get to see that shit. You got to appreciate it, right?
Yeah. I was just kind of like, just the way that this movie was filmed, Because if I didn't see this version, I mean, my mindset was, all right, I don't need to see any more other DC movies that are trying to interconnect with the main storyline. I was like, all right, this movie is garbage. But now that I saw Snyder Cut, now I'm actually a bit more optimistic with like seeing what other movies could come out. Like I would want to see an actual good, Green Lantern movie come out, a better one than the one that did come out. Would definitely be stoked to see, a Martian Manhunter movie, solo movie. Like that'll be pretty dope. I mean, I gotta say, like just seeing him transform, from Martha and then being the Martian Manhunter and then, transforming again into his, I don't know if you want to call it his alter ego or whatever, for his day job. But yeah, that was like the coolest thing that shocked me when I saw the movie. I was like, that was an oh shit moment.
You're a creepy motherfucker. You're like,
what?
Oh, you just had this heart-to-heart mother and daughter conversation. You fucking energy vampire. You energy vampire. I'm like, I never thought John Johns was a fucking creepy, cold-ass mother. Well, I guess he's an alien, so yeah. There's that.
Yeah. I didn't get so analytical into it. I just thought that one scene was cool, all right? I didn't think about the creepiness of it. But now that you explain it, I do like the creepiness about it, so I wish there's more of that.
Wait, that's what you're here for, bro. You're here to scare off all our viewers.
Give me the creepiness.
One of the what was a nice touch to it also was the what was the conversation with Lex Luthor at the very end, with Joe Mag and Lex Luthor, but it just leaves you wanting more. He was like, well, I give you who Batman is, and then it just leaves you flat. It's what could have been of the next Batman movie, the Batfleck movie. Unfortunately, we'll never know. But Joe Magniello, what's his last name? Magniello, Magenta, something like that. But exactly, but he makes a badass Deathstroke, and then to see him come after Bruce Wayne and Batman at the same time, man, we are missing out on a dope ass movie. And unfortunately, that was one of the casualties of this AT&T DCU whatever merger thing. Fuck all that, Give me my fucking Batman.
Art, are you more of a DC?
Was that, sorry?
Are you a DC or Marvel guy?
It's funny you asked me that, because I always thought you were a Marvel person when we were in high school. I swear, to this day, I remember somehow we were bantering with somebody in class, and someone was saying DC and you. I remember this, Omar, and you were like, "No, man, Marvel's the best." And I thought, okay, yeah, So I always thought like you were a Marvel guy. So I'm surprised. Maybe you've changed over the years. So I would say I love both equally. Like I love DC and I love Marvel, even though I started with Marvel first. But if I had to pick one, my heart belongs to Marvel. Okay, if I had to pick one, but doesn't mean I don't love DC. I love them just as much. But I would pick Marvel first.
You know what they call Omar in basketball?
Mm-mm.
They called him a bandwagoner. That's what they call
him. Okay. Okay. I haven't seen him in years. I haven't seen this guy in years. I don't know. I don't know what his.
I'm a Lakers fan, so what can I say? I can't.
Wow. But now you're in Texas, right? So
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like if you're still in the Bay Area, it's like, what the F, man? What's wrong with you? I gotcha. But yeah, I would say Marvel. I would say my heart belong. If I had to pick, but it doesn't mean I love DC just as much. So.
No, I mean I know you read from both universes and everything.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think that there's definitely a lot of room for, especially in the format that is available now through like HBO Max, especially. I've been watching way more, catch up on like Young Justice and other like animation, like DC stuff that I never really made time for. but because of the accessibility of it, and also it's not some of it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not into the CW DC shit. That's just like too fucking corny for me. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not cool anymore, and don't appreciate just cheesiness or just having like, you know, lesbian Batwoman. I know she is, but like just for the fact of her being like, you know, out there like that. Like, actually, Batwoman was one of my favorite like stories, like J.H. Hickman, and the way he kind of contextualized and showed panels without even words. Like, I don't know if they were able to do that in the TV show. That's awesome, but I haven't watched that yet. So
Funny. So I'm a little behind now, but I watch a lot of the CW stuff, and I get where you're coming from. You're like actually like another colleague of mine. It's pretty funny, but you know, when the DCEU was going super serious on stuff, and it's like, oh, serious. We have to be serious and grit our teeth, and what I kind of appreciated about the CW was that, you know, they kind of knew how to have fun and say, look, you know, do we want to have a telepathic gorilla show up in Central City? Let's do it, right? And then Grodd shows up, right? In the Flash episode, let's have, you know, some fun crossovers, and they're going to visit each other's cities. So I kind of appreciate that the CW sort of knows to have fun with a lot of the tropes and things that we enjoy that you probably couldn't do as much in the movies. Because, you know, there are certain things you're just like, okay, you can't do that. But then when you see it on the show, I'm like, that's cool. You know, the Arrow had this one small, I don't know if you watched Arrow, but they kind of poked fun, but also did it where, you know, Stephen Amell, right? He fought off a guy with the boxing glove arrow and he fired it. I'm like, there it is, right? There's one really early episode they did it. I don't know if you guys watched that. I'm like, you know,
I heard.
it's ridiculous, but they had fun with it, and it kind of worked in that one instance, right? So I appreciate that the CW can kind of do these things and just have fun with like the lore and the tropes and stuff like that. And I get like, you know, the cheesiness, and like my friend can't stand it. He can't watch any of it. I'm like, come on, man, just have fun with your comic book characters sometimes, you know? And you know, they're on a limited budget, but for what they can do, you know, I'm actually okay with it, right? Like they go for it. And I'm actually was impressed when they did Crisis. Never in a zillion years would I think I would get a Crisis on something, right? And they actually had five episodes or four? They went four, right? I don't know if you guys saw it, right?
Oh,
And they had all these, yeah, and they had all these crazy like Easter eggs, like, you know, Batman '89 guy and Burt Ward, and I'm like, that's awesome. Totally have fun with it, right? Pander to me, like I don't care. It's total fan service. Pander to me. I love it, right? I don't care. So I appreciate that aspect of how they're just having fun with stuff, and it doesn't have to like, you know, all fit, and it has to be like, no, we have to be mature, serious. We have to be taking it seriously. Like, you know what? I think we're past that point now, right? We don't need to fight for respectability anymore, because, you know, for the longest time we were under the shadow of you know, Batman '66, right? Everybody hears like, oh, comic book movies, pow, zap, boom. It's kind of insulting, right, at the time. And then you feel a little self-conscious because you're like, yeah, I like that stuff. But nowadays it's like, you know, who's laughing now? You know, nerd culture is mainstream culture, right? And then the people who used to kind of have to either debate or fight about before, now they're coming along and they're asking you stuff. So it's part flattering at the same time, but part like, haha, I told you so, right? And I was right like 20 years ago, you know, which is kind of cool. But anyway.
All right, and that's why you're still my friend to this day. You've always been the fucking one of the coolest guys I've known.
Likewise. Yeah.
But again, like with Marvel and DC, and you know, we were talking earlier about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I appreciate how, again, like you said, art about earned. Everything Marvel does is earned. We're at the point where we're watching all these stories of all the sidekicks. So it's evolved right now. And it's like not just these stories of superheroes, because we're past superheroes. No, it's spy versus spy. It's espionage. It's some old school sitcom style / weird kind of witchcraft shit, but, you know, very something we haven't seen. So it's ambitious. And then you have like, you know, the cool social media take with Spider-Man, and, you know, just being young and just having all these cool slang that I don't know about. I'm just talking about how dumb I feel for being so old with these movie references, which I love and appreciate. I want to see that. I want to see that with DC. And
yeah,
is that
true?
Is that too hard to ask? like you said, Vince, like, can we have a good Green Lantern movie? Like, supposedly the Green Lantern HBO Max series is going to be based off of the Grant Morrison current run or not current. I guess it's still current. But if it's obscure, if it's Alan Moore-ish, fuck yeah, give me that. Give me some alien sex. Give me some just crazy ass, so just very, very, we don't need to be on Earth at all. We could just be out there, like very Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it needs to be.
Appreciate the streaming platforms actually now. Like before, I was excited to watch these shows just on the premise, but after watching WandaVision and then now starting with Falcon, I'm like, you know what? It's not just a show about action adventure. It's not just a show about a woman dealing with her grief. You can actually delve into like themes and ideas and things that you can't do in a 2-hour movie, right? Like now with Falcon, I was reading something where they're trying to like talk about, and I guess you guys talked about it, but I'm more excited now because it says, okay, what is the nature of patriotism? Who gets to say who is an actual patriot? Why do extremists do what they do? What is the position or the role of a black man in America, how they're viewed? It's like there's all these great socio-political, economic ideas that you can bring up that I'm actually now more interested in, because this is the perfect medium. You have the space to tell these stories, and you have the characters, and it's just like so timely and relevant, right? Like now you have a government, like at the end of Falcon, that the government now has stepped in and say, we're going to define what Captain America means. Is that right? Is that wrong? Right?
Yeah.
So there's all these great themes that you can use these streaming platforms. So I'm almost like, it's funny where in a way I'm sometimes actually more excited to watch the streaming stuff versus the movies. Don't get me wrong, I love the movies, right? It's that big popcorn feeling, but then there's like depth, like you said, Omar, like totally understand. And it's funny because like this past weekend I had a play date with my daughter, and I was just hanging out with the parents, right? And the mom was just asking me stuff about WandaVision. And say, oh, I watched it and it was kind of interesting, but I don't know what it's about. So how does it work? And I was explaining, and we're out in the field, out in public. I'm like, okay, well, so it's about this woman with grief, and yeah, she magically creates her children, but then they're not real because and she was like, wait, is that from the books? I'm like, okay, well, let me take a step back. The books are, she does kind of magically create them, but they're shards from this demon, cosmic demon. Okay, keep following me. I'm sorry, this is kind of complicated. And then they die, and then she wipes out the mutants. And then I kind of had to stop myself. And I said, okay, sorry, this must sound really, really weird. Like if you walked by and heard this guy talking about this, it would be really bizarre. Like what in the world? But it's weird because casuals want to hear that now. They're asking us, people like us, like, how does that work? And I felt so strange. Like I'm in this public park with my, my kid playing, explaining like John Byrne Marvel stuff that is like 50 levels down, right, in terms of that. And we're at this weird place that we can kind of talk about it, but I felt really kind of partly self-conscious, like, wonder what these neighbors think of this weirdo talking about this story, right? But this is where we are. It's amazing, right? Like the streaming has allowed this conversation, and now casuals or civilians are interested in it, and they look to us to kind of like, oh, what is this about? And I'm like, do I go that deep, or do I just sort of keep it here? Because comic book lore can be kind of nuts, right? It's like, even sometimes when you say it out loud, you kind of like, this is kind of ridiculous in a way, but we love it. You know what I mean? So anyway.
I would have been like, listen, all right, Falcon in the bank. I'm like, dude, can a black man get a loan? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Give me that loan, man. Give me that loan.
That was a nicely done scene that didn't hit you over the head, but it was very subtle, but it illustrated something really good. I thought, good call.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, I don't know about you guys, but I gotta hit the sack.
You guys are located. Do you guys live in the same place as Omar, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Omar. I'm in downtown Dallas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 hours ahead.
I'm in Houston. So.
Oh, okay. So you're all in the same state. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's what? 11 for you guys?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Where are you at?
I'm in Bay Area, so.
Okay.
California.
So it's like almost 9.
Yeah, it's about 9. So thanks for letting me kind of crash. And how do you guys know Omar actually? Were you like from the Bay Area or something, or were you native Texans? You just met him there or something, or?
No, so I think you kind of mentioned with Laurel, like he met you, Arthur, and Laurel kind of through that same medium. I met him through a mutual friend at a coffee shop, kind of attached to my building.
Okay.
And then we got together one night and played some Hero Clicks.
Okay.
And
nice.
And that's the history between us. And that's pretty much it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him in years actually. But we see each other on social channels. But we knew each other from high school actually. And then a few years ago, I caught him at the local store here when he was in California still. So.
Wait, high school in California?
In California. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Because I knew that he had lived out there for a little while.
Right, and we see each other on social, but I mean, we haven't seen or talked for like a long time, that kind of thing. And
that's all right. You're not missing much, Omar. Like you could do a few years without him and come back.
Or I think I saw you at the shop, and that was probably like 2013, 2014.
Something like that. Yeah. And maybe at like a dim sum place here or there one time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was probably during Chinese New Year's, and I think I saw you at the dim sum spot next to
Target.
What or was it?
Yeah. Target. Yeah, exactly. But you've been in Texas for 5 years now?
Almost 5 years, yeah.
Wow. And why did you decide to move to Texas all of a sudden? I don't know. I just saw you move. I'm like, oh, okay.
I met a girl, man. I met a girl in Hawaii. Okay. She was visiting from Texas, and
You go. I get you.
That's all she wrote.
Cool.
So
nice.
I'm not sure. Did you guys touch on Black Widow yet?
No. But I got to take off, so you guys can go ahead.
Vince, it was good having you, bro. Thank you for always scaring away all of our listeners. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Glad to do it anytime. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Later, bro.
See you, man.
So, Black Widow, I think it's announced that officially that it's going to be mid-July, right? For a theatrical release and Disney Plus Premium.
$30.
Yes.
I mean, I'm guessing $30. I mean, that's that's look, like the other ones were like that, right? So,
scene, I'm gonna go to the theater, okay, and I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Like I'm gonna do everything I can to keep these businesses, around because I appreciate theaters. I'll never have a sound system like any theater has, nor will I have like Alamo. I think they've already went bankrupt, but hopefully they'll come out of it. But I love all of have you guys ever you've been to an Alamo theater before, right? Obviously, Laura.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Yeah.
Theaters in California. Have you heard of that yet?
Nope.
No. Probably have, or you have something. Was it called? What's the California version? Like Studio
Cineplex? No. Icon.
Okay.
Icon? We had this new one before the pandemic. It was called Icon. They were popping up all over the place.
Okay, so
competing with AMC and Century. Icon was kind of like the newest brand, I think.
Did it have like food that was actually edible at a decent price? And was it more like art house?
No, they were very technology based, all touch screens, and it was very all automated. So it was actually kind of cool, but price wise, it was like, whoa, I'm still paying a lot. So yeah. But sound and picture were great. So
okay, I mean, which is amazing. Alamo, they kind of bring it back to the old art house theater style, where
it's different then.
Yeah, they actually even curate movies, and then for a film, they curate like old videos that they pull from YouTube, so it's like social media style. They even have like interviews at different comic shops, like say
nice.
Book film and stuff. But they do it, and they also work with Mondo, and they have cool ass fucking paraphernalia.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Right. So like you have like the cool posters, you have the cool cups, the dope shirts, like limited edition, which all you gotta say is limited edition. You're like
catnip.
limited edition everything.
It's like catnip, yeah.
I cannot wait to go to an Alamo, and actually Alamo Theaters is also a draft house, so it actually has an open bar, or not open bar, but a bar, right? So, does the Alamo Theater in Houston, does it have karaoke bar?
No, Dallas has a karaoke bar. Oh, Omar, we're going. We're going. Let me get my shot first, but we're going.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I'm so excited. I guess Black Widow will be the first film I see, and I'm happy for Scarlett Johansson for her to hold out and fight Disney to teeth and nail to make sure she gets her big payout.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes here in California. I have no idea. I don't know if I'll go or wait the extra month so I don't have to pay the 30. Because, if I waited this long, I might as well wait a little longer, right? I don't know. So I have to see how the situation is here. So
in California for the COVID vaccine, is there like a timeline that they're on? So for us, like the 29th is going to be, we're going to be in phase 4 on the 29th. So now, before they took care of all the elderly and all of the frontline people, then it was like mid elderly and people with chronic.
It's all patchwork here.
Yeah. And but we're in Texas, bro. And they're like, no, everything's available for everyone. Now,
nice.
will it be available? We don't know. But I have been getting more and more friends. Like Trey, he's a guy that's on here often, and he got his vaccine. He still needs to get the second shot. I think he did Moderna. But yeah, okay. with you, Laurel, Johnson & Johnson all the way. One and done. I like that.
I'm excited about the Black Widow movie. I mean, hopefully I have my vaccine by then too, because I've been itching to go to movie theater. I mean, just the smell of popcorn, the sticky floor. I'm into that. Call me crazy, but that's my pastime. And I mean, if Marvel movies are going to be shown in the theater, then I guess that's how they're meant to be enjoyed. So, hopefully we get past this, and maybe down the line, DC decides to re-release the Snyder Cut on IMAX for 4 hours, and hey, I'm there too. I'll be there.
Oh, I know you'll be there, my brother. What else was it? You said, was it Pierce Brosnan?
Oh yeah.
Dr. Fate.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Fate now.
What kind of world do we live in? This is amazing news.
This is crazy because, like, for Pierce Brosnan, for me, he was 007, but he's like always that just like cool English guy that just was just such a badass and so good with the women. Dr. Fate is not that guy. Is it just the voice? I mean, are they going like maybe the Ultron rap, not Ultron rap, but the Jarvis / Vision route where, it's just the voice?
Or they could be going the Pedro Pascal route.
Okay.
This is the way.
Hey, if this is the way, then I'm down with it. I'm cool. Dude, I do appreciate also that if Black Adam is going to be the film that introduces the Justice Society of America, that would be sick as hell. Because again, Justice Society is the original Justice League to me. It's the original, like it's the first like Avengers VC. That's the original shit. During like World War I. That's cool too. Thank you. I thought I was good with history, but not with history and alcohol. Just drunk history.
I mean, in fact, they can actually piggyback off of that, do the World War II JSA film. That's another war film. What was it? Wonder Woman was a World War I film. Yeah. So yeah, World War II, why not? And then you can introduce the neo-Nazis, and not punk out like Disney did and just did the Hail Hydra. We all know they're Nazis. I mean, it's just, they're doing the two-handed salute. Come on, Disney. I mean, superheroes punching Nazis in the faces. What's there not to love? I mean, I hope it leads to to a JSA film. I think they're overdue. I think their comic book run in DC was overshadowed, but Jeff Johns did them justice way back when.
I love that book.
Oh
yeah, I love that book. I haven't
God,
read
yes.
any since then. Yeah, that his JSA was awesome. It made me a fan of that. Yeah.
It was beautiful, from start to finish. Introduced the new guard with the old guard, and and also what the Superman from Kingdom Come and all that. So he had good plot points. So JSA is overdue, and hopefully this is them getting a movie in the Hollywood treatment. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, DC's got to experiment more and not be like, oh, another Batman. We all know Batman's gonna it's your golden goose, right? Everything is gonna sell regardless of quality if it's Batman, right? Somehow do other stuff, please. You've got so many great characters, and I do wish there was I don't know, whether a central team or a person that can kind of just provide some direction, because it seems like it's this, it's that, and here it's you may or may not get it, that kind of thing. And it's different than at Marvel. They know how to drum up excitement. Kevin Feige is just so good at oh, this is what's going to happen now, and then this is what's going to connect, and you're like, whoa, it seems very nicely planned out, and it's coming. I don't always feel that, unfortunately, on the DC side. When they have some stuff, I'm like, okay, that sounds cool, but I don't know if it's really going to happen, if and when. And I don't feel like there's somebody or buddies that can help sort of guide the direction. And I don't need it all connected per se, but some push, that kind of thing. So that's the thing I would hope. But I'm with you. More variety. Right? It's not everything has to be Batman. This, that's easy. That's too easy. You've done it, right? And you can keep doing it again. That's easy money. Do other stuff, right? Be bold, because Marvel did it with a talking tree and a raccoon. Okay, if you can do a movie on that, you can do anything, right? At least in my opinion. Once I saw that, I'm like, okay, wow, it's possible, no problem, right? There's, give me some weird, Legion of Superhero characters or something like that. It's possible.
No, I mean, we talked about this many times here, where why is it that DC can create a universe for the animated universe that is fucking just superior to anything that Marvel puts out, and why can't they translate that over to live action? And it's not that far-fetched, right? Because especially with how we use technology, actors aren't in the same place at the same time for a lot of scenes. It's a lot of technology-based stuff going on. So why can't you have that type of connection? Yeah, man, I feel like a lot of it has to do with, just like you said, there's no Kevin Feige at DC, so that's really all it is.
Yeah, because that guy's brilliant. What I like is he knows how to be traditional and respect the lore and be traditional and hold the line on stuff, but know how to pivot and be flexible when needed and surprise us. And you kind of need that, right? You can't be so extreme on one side, especially if your audience is so wide, right? You can't, if you just cater to us nerds, you're not going to be successful. You have to be everybody, or as broad as you can. And DC just doesn't have that, unfortunately. They don't have a brain trust or a person that's, I don't know. I thought it was going to be Jeff Johns, to be honest, but I guess it didn't work out, unfortunately. I think he's better at books, frankly.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought he would, be that guy, because, that was kind of his starting point.
Yeah.
With, original Superman films, he was brought up in that type of, but maybe it's just,
and I don't know if it's him or these executives handcuffing them or something. It's just weird. There's bureaucracy there that's not letting creatives kind of do what I feel like they need to do. That's my impression.
Yeah. So I talked with Diana Nielsen quite a bit. She was the ex-executive for DCE, and all the conversations I had with her were not on wax. So she was just she trusted in me that I would never talk about it. But now, far past that, she helped to I guess explore streaming with Quibi, and that failed. But with DC, I feel like with the film, world of DC, the pressure was just too hard for them to catch up too fast. I feel like if they would have just allowed it to be more organic, again, art that earns, you got to give yourself time, man, because like DC does so much good shit. Like they did, like even Tim Burton stuff, I felt like it was very, very like ahead of its time, right? Burton can still, he's still kind of like someone that people look to as kind of like a style. He's like iconic, you know? And then obviously with the Christopher Nolan, what he did with Batman, and just make it more gritty and take away the symbol and make it more kind of like this guy that's going through things, right?
Yeah, grounded.
Yeah, much more grounded. I don't know where it's going to come from. And I'm not in a rush to see it because I just appreciate everything that comes when it does. I love just any type of comic shit that comes out, you know.
Yeah.
That even if it's influenced by it, you know, because you can still see shit. Oh, what's funny? Oh, one other thing I thought about was Scott Pilgrim. I'm not sure if this came out from the Snyder Cut, but supposedly they're gonna release in theater a longer, newer version of Scott Pilgrim.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, which is cool because again, Scott Pilgrim, it's
and I actually, and I'll raise my hand. This might be blasphemous. I didn't really think too much about the movie, to be honest. I thought I would love it. I was kind of bored, like, and I get it. Like people love it, and maybe I didn't. I'm not the book reader, but it was okay. I didn't hate it, but I was expecting to be more excited about it. But I get that. No.
Did you read the books at all?
No, not much.
I would highly recommend reading the books.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah.
If you have you read much manga art?
Not a lot in the recent years. It's hard to keep up.
Okay. Like in past years, like I'm saying, like, you know, like
no,
like
not a whole ton.
So what Scott Pilgrim does is it bridges manga,
video games and
comic.
Yep. Yeah, and then, you know, culture, quirky Japanese culture. Yeah, I get you.
Right style.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I just was like, the story was just sort of like, oh, I don't know. It just kind of, it's okay for me. But I loved all those trappings. It was cool. Like, oh, there's Mario. Oh, okay, there's a video game thing. Oh, it's an end boss thing. I get all that. That was cool. But I don't know. But I get what you say. Like it's exciting for people to, you know, have it in the theater and come back and, you know, watch maybe a longer cut of it. You know, that kind of thing. We're at a very weird time now. I talk to my buddy about this often. It's like, you know, high school me, kind of like when we were back in the day, high school me, we were just happy to have something, right? Beggars can't be choosers, right? Now, we're like in this weird golden age where I don't have enough time. I actually have to say no to stuff, right? I can't watch everything. I can't consume everything. There's stuff that I actually have to say no to because there's not enough hours in the day. And maybe I'll get to it at best in a few months, maybe never, right? Because there's just so much stuff out there. And if I knew like 15-year-old me that this is what's going to happen in a few years, I'd be like, oh my gosh, no way. I wouldn't believe it. But here we are, and it's still happening. And it doesn't have there's no sign of it slowing down.
No,
right?
You know? Why, right? Is if you look at comic books, what are they? They're storyboards.
That's what it is. They're stories.
And it's there. And how many stories are out there? So many. Like, I haven't even got into any of the Valiant shit yet. I mean, well, actually, the one crappy movie that went out. But I mean, there's so much stuff that's out there that we have yet to see, or maybe it's in the process of it, and we just haven't seen it yet. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely fucking exciting to be a fucking nerd. What is the podcast that you do? So we're gonna do some shout outs real quick.
Oh, it's just one I've been doing with friends at work. It's just purely for our own fun. It's not, we don't promote it, we don't record it on YouTube. It's all audio, and it's just a bunch of us. We sort of just gravitate toward each other at work, and then some of them are not at my company anymore. But we just sort of it's called the SDA podcast. six dumb Asians, it's in joke, but we don't limit it. We have anybody join, but yeah, we just talk about like sci-fi comic book movies and things like that when we can. It used to be in person, but it's obviously, some of us have moved away, and then obviously with the pandemic, so we've been doing it virtual, of course. So we do it purely for fun. We've been doing it for like 6 years. So we just joke around like, oh yeah, nobody listens to us either, but that's not the point, right? We're just sort of like, we just want to get together and shoot the breeze, right? That's all.
It's the same thing we do.
Yeah.
Like of us, like Laura and I, we haven't even met in person yet. So.
Oh really? Oh wow.
We've been homies for a while. So
wow.
I think the pandemic kind of brought NerdinIn to us.
Yeah.
So, but
that's our podcast. Yeah.
So the podcast, where do we find your podcast? So
let's
are really into what the shit that Art says that's so refined and articulate and
oh gosh. It's the SDA podcast. You can find us on vucast.podbean.com, called the SDA podcast. So, and I think our group, it's funny because it's nice because I think probably like you guys, you come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I'm like the comic book nerd traditionalist. So I usually kind of like do the history or background of characters. We have some person who's the film person, Anthony, who leads. Some people grew up on the animation more. So he has that background. There's one guy we like to refer to him as the voice of the ignorant masses because he represents like the casual. Like I only watch the current movies. So, and then there's other guy, he's like the super, super small young millennial, which we're kind of always like, oh my gosh, you weren't even born when we were watching like, Batman in '89, like you weren't even around. So his perspective on things, we're always kind of clowning him because he's young, right? And it's like, oh, you don't know anything, But the point is, we all have these great different backgrounds. So it has really good banter and good, different perspectives, right? Because you don't want everybody to be the same. Otherwise it's boring.
This is all about a collection of different ideas.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
So that, because when the listener, whether it's a video or a podcast, when they watch it or they listen, it's all about what they're experiencing. It's not even what we're saying. It's about how they're taking, because it's that kind of connection.
Yeah. And we did WandaVision last week. So.
Yeah, Laura, where are we going to find you? I know a lot of our listeners already know you, but where are we going to find your current shit, especially after the vaccine hits and you're going to be everywhere?
Yeah, I want to subscribe to both of you guys now.
Yes, you can find me on the grams at cheeky_bastards with an E. So there I'll just post up a lot of cocktail food pictures that I'm doing. Sometimes I post a selfie just because I got shit self-esteem every now and then. So, I have a bulldog. His name is Sausage. Follow him at SausageHTX. He's a bulldog. I try to post more pictures of him, but yeah. But yeah, as soon as we get this COVID thing wrangled in and all the shots taken, you'll see a lot more of my work on my gram. So yeah, be sure to throw me a follow if you won't.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's got to follow Art. Everybody's got to follow Laura. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in with us. You can find us on Instagram, obviously, nerdin_in. You can find us on YouTube, just NerdinIn, or hashtag just NerdinIn, wherever, and you'll find us. 27 episodes in. We're happy about this. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been, obviously listening to you and obviously reading all the same shit you do. And this is just for us and for you. So we appreciate you guys. We're going to actually do our 1-year anniversary recording in a week. So that's exciting. It's going to be, or maybe in a week, April 4th or 5th. We'll figure it out. But yeah, please tune in and pimp us on your corner. Later.